You're such an asshole.
We have an interesting video request. One I had to sit down and even take notes for because what do you think? I gotta do that. I gotta think. So we want to keep this guy's name anonymous because he works in an industry that would hate it if they found out he was associating with people that weren't leftists. Hi Aaron, here's a new video request. Please provide a quote. My question, if someone is an intellectual, a deep and truly independent thinker, is he doomed to be cynical, skeptical, and negative about life and the society around him due to never any disappointments while witnessing the decline? In other words, is it at all possible to be a smart, deep person without becoming a hater? I'm like, oh man. And so the old captain had to sit down, be a little bit intellectually honest with himself, and you know, how much of the is true, and it's kind of like, yeah, most of it's true. So let's go and explain. The best way to go through the chronological stages to understand where smart people are coming from, or even just intellectually honest. There's a high correlation, but independent thinkers. Okay, so stage one is the lies and propaganda, and then the rude awakening stage, from especially in the United States, but the West all over. You are lied to as a child, starting at 3. I mean, however old you are when you start talking, and especially when you get in school. It starts right off the bat with the lies and propaganda about how the real world is, how the real world works, how the real world should work, and those two, according to your teachers and parents, are the exact same. And you have to go to college, you have to Here's the script. This script. You follow us old people. You do what us old people, us wise elders, the elders of the community. You do what we say, and you're going to do better than if you do your own thing, or what you think you should do. And if you're a smart, independent kid, you'll say, oh, that makes a lot of sense. They're older than me. They're wiser than me. So I will do what they say, in a philosophy of wisdom and monkey see, monkey don't do, and learn from other people's mistakes. I will come out better than my parents' generations, even my grandparents' generation. So then you go to college, or you do whatever the script is. I'd like to say things have changed since I went to college 20 odd years ago. It hasn't. You guys are still fed in like sheep. And you get this, there's this, I've never had a euphoric feeling like this ever in my life. Never came anywhere close. I was on such a high as I was closing in on graduation because your prison sentence was over. Your 17-year prison sentence was over. You're going to get the fuck out of the school, K through college system. You'd never have to touch a day of school again, and you could finally go and work in the real world as an adult and make money and be free and live your life. You were damn well near all your youth was gone, and now you are finally about to be free. You're not going to have to worry about money. You're not going to have to worry about, can I afford this car? Am I going to be able to afford this house? There was the promised land. You're on the precipice of getting into the land of Canaan with the big grapes and the redheads with big boobies. And that's in the Bible. And then in comes reality, and then they take some sandpaper and shave off your skin. They pour salt and rubbing alcohol on it, and then they just a little bit more. So you were lied to, and I don't know if it's the pain that's delivered or if it's the confusion and the amount of time you have to spend wandering in the desert. In our day, it was a lot harder because there was no internet to provide you an immediate alternative theory as to what was going on so that you could readjust and change. We at least, especially when it came to dating and trying to figure out women, we were wandering in the desert at least a good 5 to 10 years before the internet started to coalesce and give us some ideas and stuff like that. But not just dating. We're talking your career. You were lied to about your career. You millennials are finding that out right now, right quick. And I wish you Gen Zers could learn from other people's mistakes, because now you don't have an excuse. Society, how it should, back in my day in Ronald Reagan, capitalism, freedom, low taxes, that makes sense. People should be free. And now you got, we need more of other people's money. And then the future, where do we want to go? It's like, we'd like a free country. No, we want a socialist utopia. It's like, did you not study history? And by the way, let's let a bunch of people in that just are not going to mix and melt in the melting pot, and they're going to just parasite off of us because welfare recipient. And I know immigrants don't get welfare. I mean EBT, WIC, all the other state programs that they get. Anyway, so your entire life in all facets from dating to career, family, what's the point and purpose in life, fun, are you going to be free, is destroyed. All right? Now, this brings about stage 2, and that is kind of a red pill rage. That's usually referring to MGTOWs and all that, but it applies here too, where you just hate, especially when you figure it out. And now you're figuring it out real quick. And I can totally understand why the millennials, as much as I rip on them, they didn't grow up in a vacuum. They were misled by baby boomers and older Gen Xers. And they were totally raped by Gen X professors. Now, they still think Gen X professors, these leftist professors, are their friends, but they're slowly going to maybe wake up and realize the lies they were sold as they forked over $1 million in tuition for their Masters of Fine Arts in puppetry. But when you wake up, you realize you're like, oh my God, and you're so angry. This is why I hate the boomers. All right? And it's not irrational at all. We were lied to. You millennials were lied to. We're currently lying to Gen Z. That's why I hate teachers. I hate teachers. I hate professors. You want to know where the hate and the piss and vinegar comes from? What gets me up in the morning? It's, I'm going to take down some of these motherfuckers. I'm going to enjoy the fact that these adjuncts don't have the money. I enjoy the fact that baby boomers don't save up enough money for retirement. We're going to try and get some people, unplug them out of the matrix, these Gen Z. And by the way, I'm going to mock and ridicule and enjoy the millennials as they still kind of hold on and believe in this leftist utopian poppycock they were sold. So that's what gets me up in the morning. But at that stage, you are angry. And I remember during my red pill rage stage, this really had nothing to do with dating. This had more to do with career. The amount of effort I put into college. I was getting in fights. I was getting drunk every day. Because what was your point in life and point in purpose? Why did I go to school for all this time? Then I got real angry when I realized that these, corporate, your career bosses and all that they knew jack all fucking shit. So when the housing market crashed, and I remember where I was just, the vindication is when the FBI agent, well, he didn't come into the office, but not even my boss, one of these banking douchebags says, "Oh, stop working on that loan." I'm like, "Oh, really? Why is it now, Skippy?" Because I wasn't. This guy was an asshole. Well, the FBI's raiding him, and he's under investigation. I'm like, oh. And then I realized, not only that we were lied to, but the people who were lying to us, again, baby boomers, were doing so that they could profit off of us and drive us insane. That's really what. So you go through this 100% legitimized rage. And this has nothing to do with your intellectual equal. It's just even more enraging when your brain and your independent thought is like, wait, is that the .com's a little overvalued? Or isn't housing a little overvalued? Or whatever, truly. Wait, shouldn't girls not stand us up? Aren't women equal? Shouldn't they be asking us out in equal numbers and all? What? You start and everyone, you're just not a team player and you're a sexist. Society just attacks you, so it's even more pressure than normal. But then when you get to the summit, then when you take that red pill, then when you read Return of Kings, My Site, Rational Male, you just get exposed to the red pill. I can't think if I've ever been more angry in my life than at that point in time. And it's doubly so when it's verified and confirmed you were lied to the entire time, you were berated, you were picked on, you were called names, and I'm not talking like in school, I'm talking like in the professional world, and you don't get it, and you're stupid, and then you realize, no, I was the smart motherfucker. I was the one. If you had listened to me, we wouldn't have a financial crisis or the recession in 1999 to 2000, which nobody remembers because it was a very small recession, but we used it to blame George Bush for everything back in the days, 15, 20 years ago. So you go through that stage, and you inevitably start to, I would say, really grow as an adult. Not that you weren't an adult before, but you really grow as a mature. This is where wisdom sets in. You say, all right, I have wasted my entire youth due to lies people told me before, and society and conformities and normies and inferiors. I can stay angry, or I can accept what reality is what is, and I can play by these new rules. And this is where you make an attempt to rediscover the truth without the propaganda and lies obscuring you, misleading you, propagandizing you, and brainwashing you into believing in falsehoods. And now you know who to trust. You don't trust anyone over 30, ironically. Come on, baby, light my fire. And now you are an empiricist. And above all else, you have the confidence to trust yourself, to trust your instinct. And then if you read Curse of the High IQ, which is another main reason I wrote that book, is for you to mathematically figure out, wait, yeah, I'm not a dipshit. No, I'm not wrong. These normies and idiots and conformists are wrong. So in comes this Zen-like philosophy where it's like the prayer of serenity. Grant me the wisdom to know what I do and do not control, and the wisdom to tell the difference, or whatever it is. And you take a very practical approach. And even though you are surrounded by people who vote for socialism, they still believe the lies, they're watching The View, they're still sucking Oprah's dick, they believe Barack Obama is going to bring hope and change, they believe Donald Trump is going to build the wall. All these sheep, you still manage to ignore them and say, I'm going to die, I want to enjoy the decline, I want to enjoy the last 40 years of my life here. It's not going to be as bad or confusing or mentally painful as was the first 30 or 25 years. So what are the new rules? We're going to play by them and make some progress. And here's where you get a little bit, not a little bit, this is where you get nowhere near as happy as you were the day before you graduate from college. You get nowhere near, it's not recoverable because that wasn't a sustainable or realistic level of euphoria, right? That you were still operating under dream world. But now you get to about as happy as you can be. Taking the red pill, knowing fully well what's going on. And there's a lot of happiness because now your decisions start gaining traction. You're making decisions based in the real world, and now you're starting to have bits of success. You know, you pay off your debts by this time. All right, you negotiate with, like, no, I'm not working for you $40,000 a year. You're going to pay me more. You're going to go and apply for other jobs. You start working entrepreneurship. Ladies, a lot of you are like, yeah, actually, I do want to have kids. And no, I'm not listening to the leftist, feminist, indoctrinated, man-hating slop. And I am going to marry, or if I do have daughters, I'm going to tell them to go become accountants and engineers. So there's this, I don't want to say resurgence of hope, because you're so scathed and scarred from what happened in the first 3 decades of your life. You're very pessimistic. You're very cautious, and you don't dare let yourself get up at it. But you start seeing some progress, or at least not fucking up. You're not wasting your time anymore. And so it's not that you get happy, but you get stable, and you also have this benefit of sanity. You know what's happening. You may not agree with the social justice warriors over at Evergreen College walking out because a woman said men are taller than women on average. You may not agree with that, but it doesn't bother you as much. You're like, yeah, those idiots. All right, I'm going to move on in my life. I got this going on. But no matter how zen you get, no matter how meditative and understand, no matter how based you are, I won't lie, you're still surrounded by these idiots. You're still surrounded by these morons. And as you're going to start to find out along this stage, you start losing your buddies. In college, it was great. Like, all people went to college that were above, in the top third, at least in my day. Now anyone with a pulse goes. But in college, you're in your field, you're in your study. Let's say you're an engineer. You're in college, so that's a cut above the rest. And then you're in engineering, that's definitely a cut above the rest. And so you think these people are normal. You enjoy this just conversation. You think it's going to happen. Well, what happens? They go their own separate ways. You empty out in the real world. You're like, holy crap, this is the normal world. These are normal people? Oh my God, half the people are being born out of wedlock because the average person is that much of a dipshit? Crap, that sucks. And then your friends end up getting not only careers, but some of them get married, they have kids. Some of them just get old. And you don't hang out with them anymore. You're on Facebook or some kind of social media. And so you are not even getting the intellectual stimulation you need in meat space, in personal space with other people. And so a true intellectual now has to go and find their intellectual cove, their place of happiness in the world. And that's the stage I'm at, which is stage 4. You're going to go find where you belong. And because I'm at this stage, I can't tell you retroactively what happens at this stage because I'm still trying to figure it out. But as best as my brain and experience and searching has come up with, your cove, it's almost impossible. Like, you're not going to find a place in your house at your place you live where there's a critical mass of smart people to go and hang out with. You could try with fraternal organizations like the Kiwanis or the Masons. You could try meetups. Ladies, they also have auxiliary. Like, I had an email. Like, you consult women? It's like, yeah. You got money? Yeah, I consult women. So, male or female, you're trying to find out where you belong. I would love to talk to a woman who's here on the Cappy sphere, because I go to meetup.com to see what's going on in a different town, and I'm amazed at how many, 30 and fabulous women of the western burbs, or sexy and south women meetup of the southern burbs. Like in Vegas, there's a 30 to 50 something women's meetup group that's just, apparently they go and drink wine. I would love to have one of the Cappy girls out here who, if you're following, you are smarter than the average bear, if you've ever gone to one of those, because that just looks like it'd be painful as hell. It just looks like, anyway, where was I going? Oh, so now begins the search for your cove. And best I figured it out is there's two ways you find if you find your cove. One is luck. You just happen to be in the right career profession. I surmise this is what it's like working at Abbott Labs or being a surgeon at a hospital. I could be completely wrong. Or you're part of this team and you're like investment bankers and you're getting the deals done and you go like the Japanese guys do and you go do sake at strip clubs and that's your life, and then you go home and your wife divorces you, take you for half anyway. So some of you run, or maybe you're an academic. As much as I dislike academia, you're among equivalently smart people, and they're all studying viruses or something of intellectual interest. This would not happen in the liberal arts. You're not going to have that camaraderie because you're just not that intelligent. If you're, the women's studies department at the University of Minnesota you're not going to have that camaraderie. But the virology department at the U of M, or the trying to think, computer programming, computer engineering program at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. There might be some very interesting social network, career network that you have there. But aside from that, the other thing would be environment, where say it's the 1950s and it's a booming economy and everyone's like together. And fraternal orders were bigger back then. Also environment, a little bit kind of opposite side, would be war. You're stuck in the sandbox with a bunch of other dudes that you went to basic with, or you build up a brotherhood or camaraderie. So there's some kind of environment. The problem is with the environments always change and are fleeting. So what's under your tactical, physical, practical control to take actions, to go about and find this cove, it's almost impossible from what I'm finding out. Now, no matter what, it's going to be an uphill battle. Because, let's get back to your question here. Because it's not necessarily happiness you're asking about. My question, if someone is an intellectual, a deep and truly independent thinker, is he doomed to be cynical, skeptical, and negative about life and society around him due to the never-ending disappointments while witnessing the decline? In other words, is it possible to be a smart, deep person without becoming a hater? So empirically, I'm trying to find places to be happy in within your own microcosm, your own micro-environment. But in your relation to the question, is it possible to be a smart, deep person without becoming a hater? Is he doomed to be cynical, skeptical, negative about life and the society around him? Life? That's what I'm trying to get you to be happy about and positive about. And man, it's an uphill fucking battle. Society? No. Because society is society. And again, empirically, what's happening to me is, yes, I'm happier in my own little life. Way more happier than I was in my 20s and teens. Minus that point of euphoria where I was delusional and thinking life was going to work great. So, and that's what I'm trying to do, is give something practical for people who are above average intelligence, true independent thinkers, people who are truly capable of critical thinking, not because your English professor said you were, people that are intellectually honest. I'm trying to give you, this is where it's very hard, and this is as far up this mountain as I've climbed. I think this is the best path, but I don't know what's at the top. But as for the rest of society, no, you can't. If anything, my hatred and contempt for people has increased. And by people, I mean normies, conformies, and inferiors. Even if they are they've never done anything to me personally. Like, they haven't voted leftist, although I have contempt for those people too. But just the hubris and arrogance that they had back in the old days to think they were cool because they wore the right shoes, they had the right fashion. All this sheeple conformist slop, the institutions or the awards that society recognize. Oh, you threw the ball the furthest. Nothing wrong with sportsmen or athleticism. Athletes are very accomplished. I love that. But the worship we have for sports instead of genuine accomplishment, I can't even say, because athleticism is a genuine accomplishment, but you take pride in another team that you have nothing to do with. You take pride in your education, which is easy and say. You take pride in an ism, where I'm a feminist, I'm a vegetarian, or you can even go the other side, I'm pro-life. You got SJWs on the right too. All in an attempt to replace work, accomplishments, and genuine independent intellectual thought with I belong to a tribe, with tribalism. And the area is that'd be fine, but hey, you want to go watch Oprah, go ahead. But don't you dare tell me I'm oppressing you, or I'm inferior, or I'm an ist or an ism, or I'm guilty of something. That's where I get sick. Or you're not cool enough, oh, we're going to beat you up because, you did, going back to real sophomoric stuff back in middle school. You look at basically society, which is nothing but a bunch of dumb programmable Neanderthals who are arrogant on top of it. They drive their car that they borrowed, and then they fail to pay it back, and then it gets repossessed. By the entire time they had their BMW or Mercedes, they acted like they were better people. Fuck them. And that's where my hatred and contempt for society comes from. If it was like, for example, let's say we're talking India. Well, those people are poor, but they don't act arrogant and cocky about it. They're not all trying to borrow money to make it look like they're richer than they actually are. So there's no arrogance in that. So I don't have contempt for people who just happen to be, well, one, out of circumstances, not necessarily their fault that they're poor. But okay, maybe they're not as smart. Maybe they're not as intellectuals. But Punjab over there, he goes and he works his ox cart and he sells his stuff and his wares, and that's an honest man. He doesn't try to act like he's fucking king of the Taj Mahal. But you get to the United States and the West, the amount of fake people, and that's where the amount of fake people who read People magazine, people who fucking watch the Oscars, people who go and get master's degree in easy shit, and they think they're smarter than you because they got a master's degree in, let's think of a stupid one. What's one that's not as common but stupid? Oh, anthropology. Oh. And you should give more money because you those people I detest and loathe. And when you can't ignore them, especially when they're going after your pocketbook the entire time, especially when they're berating you and lecturing you about how they're better and you're a bad person, you're guilty of all these imaginary cardinal sins, it gets hard. It gets real hard. So you can, you love your family, you love your loved ones, you got your close tribe yourself. There's not going to be that many intellectual equals. This is again why I keep telling a lot of you guys who kind of are on the same thing. Well, you don't have any debts, and you got high IQ, and you got a career. Okay, what do I do? I can't find any friends, and so that's what scares me. A lot of guys in Silicon Valley, I can't find an intellectual equal. I mean, you can't find an intellectual equal in Silicon Valley. Well, they're all leftists. I'm like, well, you got to travel. Well, my friends go across. Like, yeah, what do you think I do? That's why I'm going out to Raleigh. I'm going out to Dallas. I'm going here. I'm going there. It is that rare. But you cannot. I would almost conclusively conclude you cannot not be a hater. You cannot not have contempt for the average mindless center-left sheep who horks down his wings, drinks his beer, buys a Dodge diesel Ram truck and thinks he's cooler than you. Or some idiot is wearing his pants down below and he's got the right type of belt and he doesn't use it. Or girls who go out and party girls, oh my god, I'm just so hot, I'm amazing. Or just, girls who call everybody amazing. When it's like, no, you are not amazing, you're common, you're average. That, that's not going to go away. You cannot help but at least disrespect them. I have no respect for them. And as you get older and they get more up in your shit, starting to bark orders on what they think society should be, and they've never worked a day in their damn life, and you really start to hate them and have contempt for them. And as we spoil more and more of our generations, we tell them they're all amazing and wonderful, it's only going to get worse. I mean, you think the millennials were bad? Holy shit. Wait till these Gen Zers come online, and the hubris and arrogance that these kids who have accomplished nothing in their life, like the kids who went and protested, they all walked out on the gun control thing. That's where contempt comes from. It's like, why don't you go study American history? Why don't you just be good little students and shut up and study calculus? Don't worry, there'll be plenty of time for protesting later. So no, it isn't, and that's one of the key things to get to happiness, or at least a contentment, is to realize they're always going to be there. You're going to hate them. There's no salvation. Stop trying to save them. And now, as you guys probably are aware, what I'm trying to do, the next stage in old Captain's entrepreneurial endeavors, is going to be profiting and capitalizing off of these sheeps, conformies, normies, and inferiors. It's profitable. Asshole consulting is profitable, selling the truth. It's painful. Had to go from hell to get here. It's painful telling you people the truth about worthless degrees, .com bubbles, housing bubbles. I mean, society wants to be sold their lies and sweet taste and sugar. And it's hard to tell people the truth. Because, you get fired for it, doxxed, everything else. But if people want lies, and you want that modicum of happiness and understanding and zen, you accept that the society, the vast majority of them, are sheep. And with their hubris and arrogance, they also deserve to be separated from the money. You could sleep very soundly and morally and ethically. And again, you're not going to be happy, but you can at least interact with them and profit and capitalize them and establish a symbiotic relationship between these people that, detest you because they were brainwashed too. And yourself. So, again, you're not going to be zippity-doo-dah, zippity-day. You got, I'm 43, and takes it, because you're born moral, you want to be moral, you want to be right. Now you're like, no, we're not. Not trying to help anybody out, no more. Nope, it's all lies from hence out. This goes down, USS Cappy battleship goes down, it's going to be USS Lies. It's going to be a sleeker, faster, more cunning, and destructive battleship than you ever saw, even though battleships really aren't being used in the Navy that much anymore. So, all right, that's it. You guys got questions, the old Captain's got answers over at assholeconsulting.com. If you're interested, I know this may shock you, but telling the truth doesn't really make a lot, it might make some. If you'd like to help out and you don't want to buy anything on my Amazon affiliate program, I have a Patreon account that you can donate to, patreon.com/Aaron Clarey. I got books you can buy. Go to amazon.com, search Aaron Clarey. You'll see all the books. They're great. You should all buy them, all read them. Paperback, Kindle, audio. And we got the Clarey podcast. You can search that, and it's on soundcloud.com. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.